Hi, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Endless Celts Podcast. Hope you're well who's watching along and going to catch up as well on the YouTube video. Great to have you along this early. Joined by William and Ross. How are you both?
Good, mate.
Very well, mate. Looking forward to getting stuck into. I've not been on since Hogmanay, I don't think so. Looking forward to talking about Celtic again. I'm buzzing for it. Jeez, peeps, man. I've been on to Hogmanay.
I watched that. Isn't it our Bruce, isn't it?
TV. I'm signing up, man.
I watched that commentary. I really don't get what's funny. It must be a Scottish thing. I don't know if it's a Scottish thing.
You wouldn't understand.
It must be, no.
But I was like, I didn't really get it. But to be fair, you find it funny, so it must be funny.
Oh, well, funny.
Was this your first weeks back after the Christmas holidays and all that?
For me, it is. Aye.
Me too. Aye. First
isn't
week after, I think it was 16 or 17 days off, and what a fucking shock to the system that was.
I worked in between Christmas and New Year, but then I had right through for the Derby game, and all I've done is drink and eat. So, Happy New Year.
I got back out on the running on Monday there, back into it.
How was that?
It was alright. I only done 5 mile. I done just up the forest, and it's alright. Nice, easy pace, but I'm not as fit as I was when I was training for that marathon. I wasn't even fit then.
Plenty of boosters to hide in and all that there, like easy pace, slow time. You know what I mean? You have to crack in somewhere. You have to crack in. But here, before we move on to the Celtic stuff, and I actually said to the guys off air, I know we go off a bit of a tangent when we're all on together, but it's fair crack. Can someone settle an argument for me in the chat? Is a Tunnock's tea cake a biscuit or a cake? You say it's neither. I say it's a biscuit. Yeah. I like to see what the chat says, but plugs make using.
It's the Tunnock's tea cake is that wee bit in between your buzz and your arsehole.
Oh my god! The Gucci goo.
Doesn't he know what it is?
There's Jaden, biscuit, 100%. Charles Smith cake.
Bud had big, massive nipples.
What has happened? What has happened here?
A couple of Tunnock's tea cakes.
Do a 3-point turn and get back on the straight road here, guys.
Please don't do a quiz.
No photos.
We might do one, don't worry. Just for a laugh for yourself. Mark Nugent, cake gets hard when stale, biscuits get soft when they get stale. What? What way do they go? I don't really know, to be honest. I haven't looked that far into it, Mark. But
I didn't leave them lying long enough.
Half and half. In my case, it's definitely a biscuit. But here, keep it going in the chat. We'll come to some sort of kind of final decision at the end of the podcast. We'll come back to it with a fancy poll. I can't do them polls. Only John can. Not that tech savvy. But we'll fire straight back to Celtic, Willie. And we were playing Kilmarnock, obviously, last weekend. We're playing them again in the cup here. But we'll kind of just take a wee brief chat here about the game last week. How good is it to have Jota back and scoring goals?
It's mega. It's actually been quite strange that he's not been in the starting lineup. I don't know what the reason behind that is. I know everybody's been excellent when they've came in. I don't think there's anybody that's when they have came in had an average game. They've all excelled. I mean, coming up to that derby day, and it didn't really matter who the two wingers were you put in. You were going to be happy anyway. So, but I mean, Jota on his days, the best player in the whole league. So he's the best player in the league. So it's great to have him back and firing again. And he always looks hungry. So fantastic him back.
Yeah, it was one of them games as well, Ross. To be fair to Kilmarnock, they were quite dogged, weren't they? Quite hit. Your man Alan Parr in that midfield does my absolute boxing. He should be sent off every time he plays Celtic. He's just a dirty wee rat. I hate him.
Alan
Parr, not Carr.
Alan Parr.
Parr.
Not the chatty man. It's not the chatty man here, folks. But yeah, I mean, 2-0. To be honest with you, probably a routine victory. Went 12 points clear at that time, obviously, until results kind of brought it back to 9. But all in all, I mean, Kyogo finding form again, scoring goals. Jota back in the team. It bodes well for this weekend.
Aye, I mean, I think the guys touched on it in Monday night. The first half, Celtic had all of the ball, they controlled it, but they never really got a lot of penetration. But the second half, I think, like you said, Kilmarnock were dogged, certainly in the first half, but the second half, I think we said it in the group chat, we probably could have had 5 or 6 in that game.
Aye.
Yeah.
Giacomakis hit the post, he's hit the bar. We've had another one, James Forrest hits the post, and then I think it maybe him that hits the post again when Abada's coming in on it, and he misjudges it. He thinks it's going in, I think, and then he gets caught out and doesn't get the rebound off the post. So we certainly made enough chances in the second half to win 2 games. So it gives me confidence going into. It gives me confidence going into Saturday, because I think if we play, it's hard to say. I think, but
there's no wrong there. Anyway,
100%. I think if we play, well, I was going to say, I think if Kilmarnock, they will start off probably the same, but they'll tire again, and I think we'll probably start, once they tire, we'll start making chances like we did in the second half, and the likelihood is we'll take the chances this time, so I expect it to be a comfortable game, but we'll probably get into that later in the podcast.
Oh, we've got plenty to get our teeth stuck into.
Oh, I know.
William's favourite subjects coming up here.
I've
Transfer rumours, Willie. Transfer rumours. But before I come on to that, just a kind of final touch upon that game, obviously. 2-0 victory. It just breeds the momentum and confidence again. Like, and I know Derek McInnes, we all don't like him, let's be honest. We're not all big fans of him, but he did come out and say that's probably the best Celtic side he's faced in terms of his tenure as a manager in Scotland. And that's big praise, isn't it? Coming from... You're playing Brendan Rodgers, you're playing Neil Lennon the first time, you're playing Ronnie and all.
I think he mentioned Rodgers when he was talking about it and says that, like, it's no slight on name, but I mean, he's the second manager in the space of a matter of weeks, because Lee Johnson at Hibs came out and said the same thing, and I think both of them said, well, Lee Johnson said it's the best side he's played other than Man City, probably. And McInnes, I think, said it was the best side, not just best Celtic side, like best side in general. So it's big high praise.
Taylor alluded to it as well. Sorry, well, Ash Taylor alluded to it as well.
And we've been ranting about how we've been ranting about it because we all, well, I'm trying to think back, but most in the pod are saying it's probably the best football they've seen at Celtic Park. So like hearing the praise it's obviously nice to hear. But rampant again. Could have scored the barry load more, and a clean sheet's massive as well. I think clean sheets are big for us. So it was good to see that too.
Starvelt and the Vickers, what is it, 38 games now they've played and haven't been beaten? That's
in the league,
an incredible stat as a centre-half partnership. But again, it was just a wee brief recap of the Kilmarnock game. We'll move on to the transfer stuff. I mean, I don't know if you saw it on Twitter or Facebook. The wee Emmy's floating to me in the Sky Sports studio. Do you know what I mean? As much as I wish it could be on Sky Sports, that's never going to happen in a million years. But
it's amazing how perfect your head fitted into that collar.
It was. There was no outline of your man. I have a big head.
I can't believe you've not got the yellow tie on tonight. Doing transfer.
Can't afford it all the time. I'm not all about that life. You know what I mean? But Ross, we'll start with the outgoings. I know Willie was quite passionate in what he said today on Twitter in regards to Postecoglou, don't believe in all this stuff only when he tells you it's going to be coming. But I have my own opinion on that, and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
GG, Giacomakis. I mean, we touched on. I mean, every morning at 8 o'clock, there's a transfer rumor in our chat. Usually started by me, but it looks like he's going somewhere. And I don't think we can all pretend and put our heads in the clouds and say some of these rumors aren't real. Postecoglou is obviously going to protect the business and keep it in house. He's not going to throw the player under the bus. And of course, he's going to say they're training well and looking forward to up-and-coming matches. But that will tell tomorrow when he starts to the bench, probably, in my opinion. We looked at it. It looked like he was going to the Ura Reds in Japan. Midtjylland, Sampdoria. Besiktas apparently put out a €2.5 million bid, which is absolutely disgusting. But what I don't like, and you had a different take, Willie, he keeps putting it on his Insta story, or he's poking fun at it, Ross, with wee egg timers, and he's quoting it and he's putting it up in pictures. To be fair, in my opinion, I'm getting a bit pissed off. If he wants out, just let him go. Like it's starting to be a saga now, isn't it?
Well, Willie sort of touched on it during the week and said that he was reading into it was sort of tongue in cheek, which I hadn't looked at it like that originally. But after him saying that, it could be. But even at that, it kind of doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't really sit well with me. I just think, like you say, talking about Ange there, keeping it in-house sort of thing. I just don't think it's needed to be doing that on Instagram. But again, Willie had said Celtic would go through him if there was any truth to it, and he was making if he was going away and he was making all these like posts or whatever it is, Celtic would be right into him. But it's like Ange was asked today about it, and he's basically said he doesn't know anything. There's no been any concrete offers and stuff like that. And I said today, managers will always say bullshit, call it bullshit until it's no bullshit. But there's no smoke without fire. Cliche as it is, I think there has to be weight to it now because it's been going on too long.
Yeah,
everybody knows. I think I would say 99% of the Celtic support don't want him to go. They would prefer that. But if he wants to go, Ange has always said it. Excuse me. If somebody doesn't want to be there, then they'll not be there. But the offer that comes in needs to be right. And I don't know who you said there came in with $2.5 million or something like that. That's scandalous. I know he isn't playing every week, but he was the top goal scorer in Holland, and then he was the top goal scorer. I think he was joint maybe with Kyogo, but half a season in Scotland, joint top goal scorer. What age is he? I'm not sure. Maybe 27?
28 or something.
Aye. I mean, that's the prime of your career. If he's going to go, and I know it's weird. I said it last week. I find it very weird, the type of club that are coming in from.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's difficult. He obviously, if he is going, I think it has to be down to the fact that he wants more game time. And I totally understand it because every time he goes onto the park, he gives everything. And if he doesn't score, he certainly threatens the goal. I would prefer him not to go. And even if he ends up no going and it comes out that he's wanted to go, but then he ends up doesn't get in the move or the right amount of money isn't offered for him and Celtic don't let him go, I still accept him back with open arms because I understand why he wants to go, because he deserves more game time. Everybody said it, everybody knows it. But it's just shite for him in terms of the way we play, because it only allows us to play that one striker. And if Kyogo's fit, Ange is always going to go with him. We all have Franny said he preferred Giakoumakis last week. I totally get it. And I'm on the fence. I like the both of them for different reasons. But I certainly do think that he deserves more game time. Like, say, the other week at Ibrox, I know we got a 2-2 draw, and I know Kyogo scored in the game. I would start Giakoumakis for Celtic every single time at Ibrox. Every single time. Because he occupies the defenders, and he gives them something else to think about. He gets us up the park. He holds the ball in. He's a different entity, if you like. And for games like that, and I know Kyogo's the preferred option, and that's your biggest game of the season. But to me, we've said it before, we said it a million times last season, play the fixture. He deserves more game time. He's not getting it. If he goes, I understand it, but I really don't want him to go.
Yeah, I totally agree. Michael Ross comes in, Willie, with a good point here. And I will elaborate on it because I kind of agree with him. So the next striker coming in will take the huff as well, because I see this as a side. Obviously, there's two stories, right? You've got the Ange version, you'll get the GG version, and we're stuck in between. We'll never know, obviously, what's going on or be privy to in-house, obviously, talks. But the way I look at this, Ross is banging the money. He deserves more game time. We've all said it. And I agree at Ibrox, I would have started Giakoumakis 100 times over, because, as you said, Ross, he occupies the centre halves and he gives them something else to think about. And you kind of have that hold-up player to bring in the wingers and stuff. So I get what you're saying. But on the other edge of the coin, yeah, he deserves more game time. But why throw up a stink or try and get out of a club to like a Sampdoria or a Midtjylland rather than fight with Kyogo for that starting place? Is Kyogo, now this has been a topic that I've heard talked about loads of times, is Kyogo Ange's favourite? Is he undroppable? Or is it just the case that Giakoumakis is unsettled and currently looking away? That's why he hasn't started a match recently.
I don't know what's going on, but I mean, they're saying that, but we don't know he's unsettled.
Mm-hmm.
There's no been any word with that, and there's no. But how do we know that he wants away? Like I said, you can take these, and I do agree that he shouldn't be posting the stuff on social media. And I can see I was the same as Ross because he's seen it a certain way and I seen it a different way, and I didn't realise until Ross had said, and I was like, oh, maybe. But in my mind, it was like every time he's done it, because he's done it with every single rumour, whether it was Urawa Reds or recently it was Sampdoria. He shared that on his timeline. For me, it's more of a poking fun, like here's another rumour, here we go again type thing. Because I don't think if a team like that was interested in you posting that, like that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like Ross said, I think if that was the case, the club would be going through him. He'd be getting fined, all the rest of it. I just don't think that's the case. All this, and I mean, there's other rumours that he was told he's on a 5-year contract. Remember,
yeah.
All the other rumours saying that he was told after a year his wage would increase, and that's why he's taking a huff as well. If that is the case, then I wouldn't be selling him because he's an unsettled player. I'm very passionate about the fact that I'm in agreement that nobody's big on the club and all that stuff. And if he wants to go, then he can go. But at the right price. Remember, you've signed this contract. This is a contract. You're here for 5 years, so you either think of that contract, or you can't be taking a huff, handing in transfer request, and then you're going at a cut price. No, that's not how it works. You've signed the contract, so you need to live up to it, or you can leave, but at the right price. That's true, Jed. So again, this is what I hate. You know, you mentioned it yourself. I hate all that because it's all rumours. All you see one day is there's a spat, he wants out the club. We've never heard anything for the club or the player saying he wants out.
But they're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you.
No, of course they're not. But they're not going to You're straight away there and that. Before you came to me, you're saying he's unsettled. He wants away, so I would get rid of him. But you don't know he's unsettled.
No, I said it looks like he's unsettled. I mean, I'm giving you an option. Is that why he hasn't started again? Because Postecoglou knows.
I don't.
He wants away.
I agree. There's something going on, but I don't mind the fact that he's getting pissed off. He's not getting game time. Not a problem with me. I think we've all agreed he deserves more game time.
Yeah.
You need to go about it, and you need to work hard in training, and you need to show that you're getting that spot. But I don't mind that he's fucking. If you players take the huff and that because they're not playing, that's fair enough. I didn't mind that because he wants to play. But I mean, an agreement. There's something definitely going on because even when he's coming on, it's no half an hour he's getting. It's fucking 10 minutes, 8 minutes.
Doesn't feel like it's easy no more.
But I don't think. I think it's been blown out a wee bit. I don't think. I think. I would stick my neck out and say I don't think he's actually going to go in this window. And I know you kind of put two and two together because there's rumours that Cho's coming, and all right, well that means he's out the door. Well then, a day later, Cho's no coming now. So what does that mean for us?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I just think too much gets made of it. I'll stick my neck out. I don't think he's gone.
I do want to come to the comments here because obviously they're getting involved, and it's great to see. Mark Nugent, we need different styles. The team will crumble at a Kyogo and not a GG, and others too. GG, not Kyogo. 100%. I like a third option. An injury, and it's one out and out. Cost us a few times last season. The 100%. Kyogo will be ahead of Cho. Maybe that's the problem. We're going to come on to Cho. I'd be interested to see what his wage demands would be. Apparently, according to Kaiser, he's on 12k a week. So, to be honest, Ross, if someone goes to me, they're on 12k a week, 28 years old, Parkhead, you get on. Obviously, this is what I was trying to say. Is Kyogo undroppable? Is it just the fact that Ange has a favourite, even though he betrays he doesn't, Ross. And then it's like the second fiddle striker just has to deal with that.
I think he undoubtedly has a favourite, and it's no slant on Giakoumakis. He's built up an affinity with Kyogo. Even when Giakoumakis was injured at the start of last season, he built up that affinity. Kyogo was doing the business for him. Then he got injured, and Giakoumakis comes in. He starts doing it, but he has got a favourite. There's no doubt about it, because you've seen it this season when both are fit. It's always Kyogo's the go-to man. Yep. But again, I say it's no slant on Giakoumakis, because the way we play for most of the games, certainly, I would say maybe 65, 75% of the games, Kyogo will play because he's more suited. But there is games, like I've alluded to, the Rangers game, even games in Europe. I think you've seen the home game. I think Giakoumakis started, and it wasn't because he was preferred. It was because Kyogo was injured. But he showed in that game that for a game like that, he can be effective for us.
I think if he started more this year, we might have built up more points.
Totally agree.
I think that if he's not going to play both at the same time, I understand that Kyogo will start most of the games, and deservedly so, because of the way we play. But I think that, and again, it could be because of all these rumours, and he maybe does want away. That's why he's no starting. But I think he deserves to, because he changes up your left and right, the front three quite often. I think Giakoumakis deserves that shot. It's difficult because it's a wee bit like your keeper. You're not got to chop and change your keeper all the time. You're not got to chop and change your number 9 all the time. You're going to have your main man. But
I think at one point, though, Ross, that Giakoumakis' stats, I know the stats at the moment are getting a bit of a hard rap. They were actually better than Kyogo's at certain points last season.
100%. I'm saying, my personal opinion is he should chop and change them a bit more, but then at the same time, thinking football-wise, he maybe doesn't want to chop and change his main guy. I know he's no number 9, but he's essentially his number 9, Kyogo. But for me, I think I don't even think it's just for me. I think everybody would agree that he deserves more game time. I think, like I say, 65, 75% of the games you would expect Kyogo to start, but maybe that 25% more. He's not getting 25% of the games.
Yeah,
like 25% starts, if that makes sense. He's not getting that. He's getting he's lucky if he's getting 10% at the minute, which is nowhere near enough for a guy his quality. And I understand he can come into the game with half an hour to go, and he has done, certainly the last game. I think maybe the game before that, but 3 or 4 games before that, he wasn't getting half an hour. And previously, in the first part of the season before the World Cup, he was getting that half hour, which is enough to make your mark on the game. But sometimes it's difficult to get up to the pace of the game and stuff like that. So he's feeling like he's coming on and like trying too hard sometimes. And that sounds maybe a bit stupid to say, because he is very effective still. He's no trying too hard and making himself ineffective. I don't know. I love the both of them. And you look at them in the Champions League there, right? And everybody was questioning, are they going to be good enough for the Champions League? Because we didn't get the goals that we deserved. What we looking at?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Great point.
Well, 100%. That's why there's different games. You have to chop and change it and play the fixture, like I've already said, and we've said millions of times. But we could talk about this till we're blue in the face. Ange is going to pick Kyogo. He's his preferred option. For me, Giakoumakis doesn't look like an Ange signing. There's no other player in that team is like Giakoumakis. But for me, that's a good thing, because it's a different entity that you need. is he an out-and-out Ange signing? Probably not, and that's why he's not getting as much game time as he probably deserves.
Alistair nailed it, by the way. Alistair nailed it. If you sat Ange in front of us now and says, "Oh, he's talking about Kyogo's goal, he's banging him in." If you sat Ange now, Ange would be going, "Why would I drop Kyogo? He's scoring a goal a game." Pretty much. We're clamouring for a boy to get more game time, and Kyogo's scoring goals for fun. Why would he drop a guy who's scoring
you
goals
forget
for fun?
that, you're bang on. He's bang on.
You said he's banging him in, but my thought was like, why? If you ask Big Ange a question, that's what he's scoring a goal a game. Why would I drop my striker that's scoring a goal a game? Everybody's clamouring for GG to get, you know what I mean?
I know.
But there has been times where Kyogo hasn't been at top form and still has not been moved from the number one striker spot. And I think it's quite. It's
but
quite
then you understand. Sorry, on you go.
It's quite thing that you said that Gigi is an out-and-out number 9, which he is 110%. Most of Postecoglou's signings could play a variety of positions. Maybe that's what he doesn't like. The player profile himself can't fit in another position, or he can't do another job. But again, I come back to what you said. Having another outlet to bring on or start in a game that you might find difficult against physical players is great. And Gigi's the guy who can come in and be that physical presence. And it took him a while to get going. But see, once Kyogo got injured and he had to take that responsibility on that season, it was bang, 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 goal after goal after goal, one-touch finishes. This season, the Europe thing really pissed me off because, well, Europe, I 100% agree with you as well. I think we would have got more points if he had started in the European campaign. There were so many missed opportunities. Kyogo fluffing his lines or players not taking their chances. You think about Abada as well. Do you know what I mean? But, 100%. But I mean, if you played him, I was most of it. Well, 5 of the games, for example, he's getting about 3 goals. I'd say easy.
I think it's just because he's a more natural finisher. He needs 2 chances and puts one away, and Kyogo might sometimes need 4 or 5. And in the league, that's all right. But in Europe, for me, it's like obviously it's no. We had 3 or 4 glorious chances in the game, and we don't put them away. For me, Gigi's a more natural finisher, and like it's all conjecture. When we don't know if he's playing, we don't know. But we're all surmising here. But I just think he's a better finisher. I mean the Rangers game, Kyogo was posted missing the whole game. I'm screaming for
he was shite the whole game.
GG to get on, but then he pops up and gets the goal. So if you ask Ange at the end of the game, he'll say, "Well, that's why I want him on the pitch. He can be shite all game, but that's what he does."
Egyptian King, that's a great point. He scored in Europe and was dropped straight after. Kyogo was definitely, I think we've all came to that.
Aye,
100%.
He's definitely the favourite.
What's an acceptable fee, Willie, then for Gigi?
I don't know. He's got 4 years left in his contract. I wouldn't be taking any less than. You need to be realistic, right? You can't be flaunting the fucking 17 millions about all that because that's just not going to happen.
No, he's not.
But I wouldn't be taking any less than 8 million for him.
See, it's difficult to ask for. I would agree with Wally there. It's difficult to ask for any more than that. I think he's worth more than that, but because he's no playing, it depreciates his value. Depreciates his value, absolutely. Which I don't know. If he was playing every week, you'd be looking at 15, but probably 8. I mean, top. That's top. You know what I mean?
If he was playing for a Brentford or something, and a fucking Spurs came in for him, he'd be going for stupid money. Because it's the hardest job in football, putting the ball in the back in it, and he does it well. I'll
tell you now, if he could go to any team in the English Premier League, I would say in the bottom half, he could go to any of them and score goals for them.
Aye.
Southampton would do well to get him.
Like Everton, they're screaming out for somebody like that.
Southampton, Everton, West Ham, even up. Maybe no West Ham because they've got Hingway, what do you call him, Antonio? But he's no firing on all cylinders now. But he would go to anybody in that bottom half of that English Premier League, fit into the team, in my opinion, and score goals. Because it's what he does.
See this whole rift stuff, I know, and it's just rumours. Just for me,
he hates it. Well, he hates all these rumours,
man. I honestly think in training, if he's banging on the door and saying, "I want more game time," I've got every right. I reckon Ange's going, "Yeah, you're right," but the other boy's scoring a goal a game. Mm-hmm. What you want me to do?
Right.
100%.
Work hard, and if he starts a different form, then you'll get your chance. You're getting 20
But
minutes.
see, that's the issue. That's what I was saying to you, Willie, right? Like, Gigi has proved what he can do, right? This is what I'm thinking. In training, has he, like, not down tools to a certain extent, but has he not shown what he can do? Because there is, like, the Rangers game, prime example. I'll go back to what Ross said. I mean, he's played him the majority of the games anyway against them. Kyogo obviously was injured in a couple of them, but he came on, he was effective, he done a job. But he got about 15 minutes against them. 15 minutes.
Every time we've played Rangers, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember right, every time we've played Rangers, we've pumped them.
Don't fucking start that.
Kyogo started,
right,
and he went off injured in the first minute.
Agreed with Jed.
GG came on, we beat them 4-0. Giakoumakis started last February at Parkhead, and we beat them 3-0.
Yep.
I don't remember if he started any other games in between that period, and they were all more tight games.
Yep.
That's not a coincidence for me.
Yep.
No, it's not. 100% with you on that one. And it's a sorry state of affairs because we all kind of have a cult kind of status with Gigi, don't we? We all love him, and when he plays for Celtic, he gives us all, and he's firing all cylinders. He's a great striker to watch. But I do want to come back to the comments here just a wee bit.
See, when you're saying that as well, how you've gone on about how he's down in tools. Why? Mm-hmm. What if it's just a dent in confidence? I'm not getting the game time. Kyogo's scoring for fun. This is shit.
He has to put his big boy pants on, get back to training.
But maybe he's just lost a bit of confidence.
Get into the team.
But you're saying on these new tools. I'm just taking it from another angle. Maybe he's just lost a bit of confidence because you're right. Although I seen a massive difference the other night when he came on.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he was
fighting for everything.
But what we have to not forget, and I know this debate, is the fact that as much as we love Giakoumakis, we all love Kyogo as well.
Yeah.
Because he's a tremendous player, and like Willie says, he's scoring a goal a game, and he's doing the business for us now. You can't grumble at it. We're very lucky to be having this conversation.
It's a great point because there's loads of clamour, and everybody says, I reckon, Jed said in it, and Franny said last week, and Jed said if you put a poll, I reckon the majority would say they prefer Gigi. But that's not
over Kyogo.
Aye, that's not a slant. It sounds like everybody's hating on Kyogo. No,
it's far from it. It's far from it. It's far from it. And then Sean the Mac comes in. His big hand's got an issue with Gigi. That's what we're trying to determine on the panel of experts we have on tonight. But
for the experts,
you look at it. Is it Lawwell cutting the wage bill? Do you know what I mean? Easy solution by Jed Thomas playing it both up top. Gary Melrose, JJ down twos. We're going to come on to him next. Gigi hasn't. He looks like he's playing for a new deal or move. And then Michael Ross, hit the like button. Yeah, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate all the support. You know what I mean? Get in about it. We're just a bunch of regular guys talking shit and having a laugh and drinking occasionally, which is great fun. But to be fair,
more than occasionally.
Yes. And Michael Ross, if you've seen the photo of me in the Sky Sports studio, you know what I'm talking about. But I would take 5 for him. If a club come in and said 5 million up front, no installments, I'd take it. 100%.
Without having they probably will have a contingency plan in place.
But we're going to come on to that, Ross. I'm glad you said it.
Seamless
we'll move on to
wink.
Seamless wink. Well,
that's what I said.
That's ease up there, like ease up. And then Paul McFarlane, this talking shit is endless. Yeah, good pun on the names. Love it. But we'll move on to Iuranovic, GG and JJ. What a kind of their names. Iuranovic, Ross. To be honest, this has pissed me off more than GG, to be fair, because I think we're not blind. We know Iuranovic can't wait to leave for some magical reason. And it seems like now he's holding out for a move to the EPL. Manchester United, the latest club, according to Anthony, has been linked with him. Now, I said this in the chat. I mean, I'll say it here. I'll see if it catches any fire. But United are welcome to our second choice right back. I mean, that's fair enough. They want to come for our people who sit in the bench. They can take him. But Iuranovic again, it's another one, Ross, isn't it? A great player. We know what he can produce in a Celtic top. He's been excellent at the inverted fullback role ever since he came in. But more so than Gigi, it's a trend in Iuranovic's career so far. 2 years at a club, and he's looking for that next move. Is this just a case of him cashing in his opportunity at the World Cup?
Well, possibly, but I mean, it's probably certainly the last window. I would say the last January window as well. He's been linked away every time. And it's probably rumours, but again, I'll say it, there's no smoke without fire. He looks to be going away. Celtic wouldn't have brought in Alistair Johnson if Iuranovic wasn't going. He's 100% going. I think he's performed really well for us. I don't think he's performed as well this season. I don't think it's because his head wasn't in it. I just don't think he's performed as well. And I know he played quite well in the World. I think folk are getting a bit excited. He played quite well in the World Cup. He had a really good game against Brazil. But out with
that's fair. That's fair.
But out with that, I don't think he was absolutely outstanding. But he's surrounded by very good players and a very good team, which helps as well to make you look better. System. And by the way, I'm not. It sounds like I'm trying. It sounds like I'm trying to bring him down here. I'm not at all, because I think he's been an excellent performer for Celtic. And when he first came in, the first few games, I honestly thought he could have went to anywhere, any team he wanted, just about, having spent maybe 3 years with us. But it's no sort of transpired like that, because his form has dwindled, if you like. And now that Alistair Johnson's in, and the way he's performed so far, I would say he's right up there with Iuranovic. I mean, it's hard to really. It's maybe harsh on Iuranovic because we've only seen him playing 2 games, but in the 2 games, I fully believe that Alistair Johnson can come in and replace Iuranovic, and you'll not notice a difference. You haven't noticed a difference anyway. And again, it's helped with he's coming into a really tight unit.
Great point.
No, he definitely hasn't. But Alistair Johnson has got more dig about him. They've got different attributes, different styles to an extent. Alistair Johnson, you need to give him time to get up to speed with the sort of playing that inverted full-back role. I don't think going forward he looks as assured as Iuranovic has done. But certainly defensively, he looks a better defender than Iuranovic. Iuranovic gets caught out of position sometimes. I think people were harsh on him for the penalty kick at Ibrox. Other people will blame him. I know you did, Stephen, which is fine. But I wasn't having a go. Is it? It's all about opinions, isn't it?
Thanks for your permission. Thanks.
No, it's all. I don't mean that, but it's all about opinions. But certainly, Alistair Johnson looks a better defender, and the guy is supremely confident. He's sure, he's cocksure of himself, but no arrogant with it. And he sort of pays to the fact that Ange signs the man as well as the player. But if Iuranovic goes, I will not be absolutely gutted. But it's more because of the player we've got in. If Iuranovic left and we hadn't signed Alistair Johnson, I'd be worried. Even though he's not performed as well this season. But Alistair Johnson's in the door. And Celtic are doing things different now. I think we can all see that. Because there's no way. Celtic would have sold Iuranovic. They will take whatever money it is. Obviously, we'll try and get the right money. But they would sell him. We nae thought about who we're bringing in. And then at the end of the January window, they bring in John Joe Kenny. Oh, it's all right. We've got this boy in. That's what they used to do. But I'm just not having that.
Yeah.
And this is what I like about this new Celtic, if you like. Say new Celtic, but you know what I mean.
Well,
again, like it'll be the same going back to Giakoumakis. If he does go, we've nobody in right now, but you can bet your boots that Celtic will sign somebody if he goes before that window closes, because it's just the way we work now, lol or no.
Yep.
Yeah. I think as well, like the fact Iuranovic, Willie, I mean, to be fair, he hasn't been at it all season before the World Cup as well, and he came into the Rangers game as a sub and doesn't look like he didn't really care. I don't know if it's him kind of trying not to be injured. Players obviously different mindsets and that, but I'm not doubting that he's been a fantastic player for us, right? He falls under that category. While he was here, he was great. He's never going to be a legend or an icon. But you say rumours and you hate them. I think it's more obvious Iuranovic does want away, and we've signed Alistair Johnson as his direct replacement. And another thing about Johnson, by the way, you look at him, he looks like a tank. Let's be honest, but he can play in the middle of that pitch, no bother at all. He was going on the left hand side, and he was popping up everywhere in the striker positions, coming into the box, and it was just great to see him getting into that system that Lance does. But Iuranovic, Willie, I mean, this whole release clause as well has been talked about. For me, I'm starting to believe it even more because of the rumours being floated around about 8 million quid or 7 million quid, whatever. It's just time that for his sake and for Celtic's sake, don't be dragging it on. Find a suitor and just let him go.
Aye, but again, it needs to be the right price. I'm not having that. You've signed a 5-year deal. You're not going for pittance. That's it. And see,
there's a release clause.
See, if that's true, that's fucking absolute nonsense. I can't believe that would be the case. Ange talks about how he wants to get people in the door that are committed to the cause. How the hell is putting a release clause in your contract committed to the cause? That's just absolute nonsense. And if it is true, and that's the money we're talking about, that's, again, absolute crazy negotiations to give him a contract with that little release clause.
Maybe he asked for a release clause. Maybe his bird's a bit of a nugget and she can't settle anywhere, so he wanted that just in case he needed to bail out.
But see, for me, this is why I don't understand if it is the case. Again, I hate rumours. But if it is the case, and for me, if I'm Ange or Ange is a person I believe he is, if that player's coming in and he's like, I want a release clause, for me, Ange is going, well, listen, if you don't want to be here, then he says it all the time. Then you go, I'll find somebody else. That's why I don't believe this release clause nonsense. I do hear what you're saying. I hate rumours, but the difference between him and Gigi is we've got somebody in, so it does look like he's away. Just to touch on Alistair Johnson, he, like everybody's banging on, he looks a real player. Like you said, the other night he was popping up on the left-hand side, left wing and everything. He's buying into this inverted wing back, and he looks like he could just run for days. Looks like he could play 180 minutes and no break sweat. Right. And I love the fact. Again, I agree with. I know, but if he's shut up, Andy. If he's that's one of my best pals, by the way, so it's all right for me to say that. Oh. If he knows that contract's there, then surely he should be saying, "Wait a minute here, I want somebody committed to the cause," and that's it. I just can't understand it. He shouldn't be going for that money. For me, I agree with Ross. I don't think when I was watching the World Cup, I didn't think he was setting the world alight. It seems like the media and everybody else is clamoring and going nuts over his performances. Yes, against Brazil, he was brilliant. That's true as well. He was electric last year. So I reckon, and all the stuff in the summer where it was Chelsea and the rest of that, Chelsea are forking out fucking nearly $1 million a game for João Felix to come in and loan. You think they're not going to punt 7 million to get a backup right back? Of course they are. There's no way that's a cause. I'm not having that.
I won't.
And if it is a cause, it's nonsense. See the likes of Callum Patterson going for 16 million and that, and then this guy's everybody's ranting and raving about in the World Cup. I agree with Ross. I thought he had a good World Cup, but it wasn't like he's the next big thing to come out of Croatia. So if that's the case and he's got a third place medal, then he should be going for far more than like a Callum Patterson, who's a prospect for Rangers.
I think Callum Patterson's top player.
Nathan Patterson, sorry.
Callum Patterson's going to Hearts.
I think Patterson's a top quality player. I don't know how he's not getting 16
million though.
Aye,
no, that's right. We're not talking about Nathan Patterson.
No.
By the way, we're packing that in. Right now.
If he's got a £7 million clause, it's the worst clause since Tim Allen.
Yes, aye.
Well, here's one for you. Willie. Obviously, you're against this clause. Whose fault would that be then?
Was that Nicholson? Whoever deals with
Nicholson and Chris Mackay.
But I believe that Ange would be in constant contact about these sort of things. And I think if he hears about that's an inkling that we're a stepping stone, and he's like, nah, I'm not having that. He's always talking about the person and committed to cause. If you don't want to be at Celtic, there's the door, and that's it. You want to be here. So I just can't fathom that would be the case.
That'd be amazing as well. I agree.
Now in the summer, I think his head's been turned in the summer by all the rumours. because there was the likes of Chelsea and all that rumoured. Now we're talking about Monza for 7 million. Why the fuck? If you're third place in the World Cup, you're playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world, would you decide you want to go away and fight relegation in Italy with Monza?
Yeah. Well, I mean, their owner's a bit of a character, isn't he? Well, Berlusconi or something. I want to come back to the comments here, Gary Melrose. Is he just bias, or did everything in the Champions League seem to come down JJ's side? When everyone was worried about Greg Taylor, it was JJ who was the weak link. I do see where you're coming from, but again, I think that's an element of thinking that because he wants out the door. Andy the boy, Ans doesn't negotiate the contracts low. Monty, all right, mate, all right. Monty, William, did you just say littler release clause? I mean, if Ross said it, I wouldn't have been surprised. David Ferguson, even if Ans could bring in a better right back that's head and shoulders above a World Cup semi-finalist, then can we stop panicking about the striker situation?
But that's the difference in that. Sorry, just to jump in, that's the difference. That's why I don't think Gigi's going anywhere, because there's nobody in the door. Ange will never let him leave until there's a replacement in there.
And that's another thing. David Ferguson's bang on here. He only cost 2.5, so 7 million. Still a markup on what he was at.
Aye, but it's not enough. Still, it's shite.
It's not enough. But then you look at it, if they maybe put that, because they've signed him for 2.5 million. I really can't fathom why they would put a release clause in. But if it was, were they thinking 2.5 million we've signed him for? If we get 7 million from him, I really don't think Celtic would do that, because they try and get top dollar for their players in terms of what you can get in Scotland. And they must have known that he had real potential, being at the Croatia right back for one.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're guessing, and it makes for good conversation, but we didn't really know. And it'll all come to the fore at some point, and we'll all go, oh, aye, you were talking pish, I was right.
Mind if there's no release clause, he's still got 4 years or 3.5 years left in his deal. So you'll be able to tell, listen, you can go. I'm quite happy for you to go. But you'll be gone. You'll not be gone for pittance. You'll be gone for what we decide you go for. And that's it. And that's player power. Yeah. I'm going to down tools and I'm not going to play. No. You signed a contract. You stay loyal to that. And that's it.
I don't think he has down tools, though.
Ah, mate.
I think he had a bad game against Rangers, but I don't think he's down tools.
You wind him up.
I think if he played tomorrow, I bet he'll not play tomorrow, right? But I bet you if he played tomorrow, he would have a good game.
No,
he would do the job.
No. The fact that he said 4 years left in his deal, that's pretty much the war of the bench if he doesn't buck up his ideas and wise the fuck up and stop being a wee girl looking at a Celtic, trying to go to a club like Monza, who's 15th in Serie A for a couple of extra grand a week. Get your fucking face out of the clouds and really realise what you got. I hate players when they do this shit.
Man U, though.
I will, whatever.
Wants to move to a warmer climate.
Man U, Chelsea, fucking Barcelona, pipe dreams and all. I'm just pissed off of him. He's really doing my fucking boxing. And see this whole this release clause shit. It's for me, it's 100% true, because the fees have came way down from 15 million quid to 7 million, and a fucking loan deal for the summer for an obligation to buy from Monza, and that was apparently close to being accepted. Absolute shambles if it's true. I agree with you, Willie. 100% agree with you. But the only thing I can think of is this Moneyball thing that Postecoglou talked about, is being ruthless, aggressive in the transfer window. Take what you can, reinvest. Take what you can, reinvest. Take what you can. But the only issue with that is, I mean, we see Brentford, they came from League One to the Premiership by doing it really, really fucking well. The only issue with that is we need to keep getting better and better players in. And that concerns me, that I don't think, Willie, that the board would part with going up to 6, 7, 8, 9 million quid, because Postecoglou stayed in around that £2 to £4 million mark for his players, maybe bar Jota and Carter Frickers, but we all seen the value they can add to the team. That for me is the concerning part of that. If you kind of get what I mean.
For me, you're not getting many right backs for the money that if he's going for 7 million, you're not getting many right backs as good as him for 7 million.
No. 100%.
One and Alistair Johnson for 3.5 right now. I know we're touching. Did you just really fucking come back at me there? What shit? No, I can't. I'm not having your release clause argument. I think if it was that low, he had such a good season last season, he would have been away in the summer.
Yeah, I see. Michael Ross has said this a few times. Kasper Tensgestad, I think he came.
Tengsted.
Yeah, Tested, whatever. He's away to
Tengsted.
Benfica. He once spoke
What is
about
it?
9 million or something
Ross.
for, isn't it? No.
£9 million from
Hey,
Rosenborg, I
Ross,
think it was. But there's no way we're paying that. But we'll move on from JJ and Gigi to Cho Gu-sung, who looks like Ross. It looks like we've kind of fell out of that race.
Doesn't he look like Ross?
No, he doesn't look like Ross.
He doesn't look
Like my middle shed.
I've had a shocker here the last 5 minutes, boys. I feel like on the road here. What's going on?
Not at all. Carry on, kid.
But Cho, it seems to be again that I don't know, have we lowballed the figure? We know Mainz, that seems to be his preferred option in Germany, but they've come in with a lower offer. He's expected to stay until the summer under Park Ji-sung's advice, who's the director of football at that club. And again, if Gigi leaves, we've missed out on Cho, one striker in Kyogo. For me, that's a bit of bad future planning there on behalf of whoever is the board or even Postecoglou himself.
How's it bad future planning?
Well, I mean,
you asked me a question. I don't see how it's bad future planning. We've no sold GG yet, right? That's a rumour.
He's going.
Right? That's your opinion.
No, he's not.
I don't know. I'm on the fence. I don't know, right? But he's not sold yet. We've been rumoured to go for this Korean guy. I'm not going to attempt to say his name when they disrespect him like that, like you did. But
that's how you say his name, Cho Sung.
Right, okay. If we've made, that's a rumour, but if we've made a bid and it's not been accepted, like, how is that bad future? We've made a bid. We've tried to get a guy who we possibly want and to replace a guy that's possibly going. I don't know how that's bad future planning.
Well, I mean, it's the way I'm looking at this is right. These aren't massive bids, Ross. Right? Let's be frank about this. It's €3 million plus a 50% sell-on clause, right?
What do you want?
Minnesota and the MLS have outbid us €5 million with a 30% sell-on clause, right? But this is the point. But right. If you really want someone, you push the boat out. If Cho doesn't feel wanted by the other teams, but he feels wanted by Mainz, I find that really mad. Paul McFarlane did say he had a friend there, which kind of makes sense if he wants to settle in the new culture. But you're meant to have multiple options. Do you know what I mean? That Stephen Fletcher, John McGinn, it's happened before. It's just Celtic lowballing, in my opinion. It's lowballing. How
do you know they've not got other options? They've made a bid there. Well, they've made a bid that they might have lowballed. We don't know. But at the moment, all I can say is, that's what Celtic feel that he's worth. They've made that bid.
No one said that, John. Relax.
Comments of.
They've made that bid. That's what they think he's worth. But it's difficult to really put an argument across on this either way, because at the minute we still have Giacomakis. Ange is scuppered the rumours that we are interested in that guy. Like, we've apparently made it came in Sky Sports, I don't know if it was last weekend or during the week, that they had made a bid. Excuse me. Ange has scuppered it. So I really don't know. But it's difficult to have a proper opinion on it, because there's nothing concrete. And Ange is scuppered it at the minute. So we have to just go with him, because if he came in the door, he's not lied to us. And I trust him implicitly. So
what if what Ange's looking for right now is a third choice striker? Because Kyogo's his main man, GG's up there with him. This guy's not going to be playing week in, week out. Why are we going to pay $5 million for somebody that's going to come in and not even get on the bench?
There's always someone better, really. But this is the
obviously
the thing.
not. Because if he was better, they'd be putting up the money. And
strikers like Kyogo in the world, man.
What is Cho?
I'm not saying he is, but what I'm saying is
about spending the money on him. That's what I'm saying. You're saying, why are we not paying the money? And also, you said about this Moneyball thing. You're not going to make much of a profit if you're spending 5-6 million on players, because we've just said we're not getting 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 million for
players.
That's
how it starts.
So if you buy 5 million, if we sign somebody for 5 million, we're not going to make a massive profit in that. We've signed Iuranovic for 2.5, and apparently we're going to sell him for next to no profit.
But there's different ways of looking at it. Cho's younger than Iuranovic for one, so better high ceiling in terms of transfer value to get back for him. If we buy him for 5 million, whatever it is, euro or dollars, whatever they operate in, then there is a potential way to get a higher if he plays well. That kind of, obviously fees don't guarantee everything, right? But my biggest issue is with this, and yeah, it's hypothetical, but let's talk about it. It's us free. We're having a few drinks, we're having a laugh, having a bit of a chat with the comments and stuff. And people have told me tough shit. He's out of the price bracket, but you're not going to move anywhere as a club if you don't pay these fees. We paid 9 million for Edouard. We paid 9 million for Edouard, and we thought it was the best thing in the world, right? He was a great player, 100%. And then since that, it's from 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, on 2 occasions at CCV.
Wait, but can I just
100%.
say
we're a big club. We're a big club who rake in massive amounts of money from other revenues rather than the SPFL, but yet we don't speculate to accumulate, improve the squad, and we'll piss them on next season when we don't do well in European football, and we'll say it's a process, but we've had the chance to do it in the summer, and we've signed again 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million pound players. It's just annoying.
Right, well, I'll push back. You've used Edouard as an example there, right, and said we paid 9 million for him, right? We did pay 9 million for him, and it worked out, but we paid 9 million for him off the back of a decent loan spell. You want us to pay over, I don't know, was it 3 million the bid was for this Korean guy?
Well, 3 million plus a sell.
You're saying pay over the odds, pay what he's. You've not even seen him playing. How do you know what he's worth?
Well,
he might not be as good as you think. You've seen him playing maybe one game in the World Cup, and he done well. He done all right. But I'm not absolutely desperate to get this guy. I would much rather keep Giakoumakis because it's better the devil you know, in my opinion. But if he goes and Ange feels he's the right man, Ange and Celtic will offer what they think he's worth. And
exactly.
I know in the past we have lowballed and lost out in players. We've just been a wee bit tight. But I don't think this is the way Nicholson and Ange work. Well, that's it, aye. Plain and simple. But I don't think it's how Nicholson and Ange work. Okay, I get the worry is Law's back in the door. Is he having input or whatever? But
that's you're telling me I haven't seen him play, but we paid 4.5 for Kyogo.
Aye, exactly. So they thought he was good enough to pay 4.5. They don't think Joe's good enough to pay 4.5.
That's what they believed he was worth. And Ange had seen him play. Ange watched him play a full season in the J League.
We also paid 6 million for that fucking donkey for West Ham.
Ange posted he was a Japanese player. Everybody will say, oh, Ange knows the Japanese market. These are great. He knows all these players. And then suddenly Monty's in there saying, we'd never seen him. Ange had seen him playing a full season. He knew him inside out.
And if Ange thought he was as good as Kyogo, he'd have paid 5 million. He'd say, pay 5 million for the boy. And that's why we've not done it. Look,
this is... It's the hard thing, right? We're operating. We all know different markets, right? That's fair enough. The whole. This isn't just regards about the Cho situation. John's come in here saying we're linked with that Norwegian fella. John, he's waited about figure. I think you're about 2 years too late in that one. But he went for 9 million. We're not paying £9 million now for a backup striker to Kyogo. What I'm saying is, Cho. That's fair enough. There is plenty of people who said he's excellent. He's like human son who plays for Tottenham, all that type of. That's grand, right? If he goes to Mainz, I'm not pissed off about that. What I'm pissed off about is just the striker department in general. Because if GG goes, effectively, we're left with Joey Dawson, who's the Celtic B team striker. Maeda and Abada can fill in that position. I know that. I've said that myself. But
Celtic will no sell Giakoumakis without. If they sell Giakoumakis, they'll bring somebody else in. I 100% believe that.
Do you think they're holding on to him until they find that replacement? Is that what you think's happening right now?
There's no way he'll go until somebody else is in. No way.
Quite possibly. Well, I mean, the rumour's been dragging on for a few weeks now, and Celtic haven't got MD in. So it could be that they're waiting till they get. So they might be waiting to get the actual man in the building, or. It's agreed, and then you go, right, you can go now. They're not going to let Giakoumakis leave the club because we're, like you say, we're left with Kyogo and Joey Dawson. Okay, Maeda and Abada can come in and play through the middle, but Ange has fucking hell. Ange is no
What?
no
What?
no
What's
Nisbet,
wrong?
man.
Nisbet? No.
Ange has
No.
no worked like that for he came in the door. He hasn't worked like that for he came in the door. Like he's building a squad. We've said it for the last 18 months. He's trying to get 2 players for every position. He's not going to let Giakoumakis leave the club and not have anything in place. It's just not going to happen, in my opinion.
Well, I hope not. But I, as I said, I was speaking in a hypothetical sense in that situation. Do you know what I mean in terms of what could happen? Just to go back to the comments here, I've been getting a bit of grief. That's fair enough. Antonio's said we only spent 6 million on CV and Jota because we knew exactly what we were getting. Tried improving. Anyone coming in is a risk. We don't have the massive EPL money, TV money to fall on if we pay top dollars for a dud. Brown Warrior. Dawson is nowhere near polished enough to replace GG. He's very raw. Plunge McNugget. That's a cracking name, by the way. I don't think we'll sound so. It doesn't look like we are. Charles Smith, 30 million sitting doing nothing, and there'll be more this summer coming in. Egyptian King, bring Musa home. Wow. 100%. Mark Nugent. The bit that hacks me off is the Sunderland and Southampton effect. Pish cash for them. Great cash. A season later, do farm to the big club. Yeah, 100%. If GG goes, we'll replace him. Alistair, Jed Thomas, Musa would be an outstanding signing. It's just one of them things, isn't it? I mean, we all get hot and heavy with the transfer window, especially me. I just like to know that we're kind of looking to the future and looking to what could happen, because you have to have succession plans. We all know that. And 100% get what you're saying. GG hasn't left yet. Maybe I'm jumping the gun here about who we should bring in and what money we should spend. Ange, again, has done fantastic work in the Japanese market, and Hatate, that's 1.5 million quid for probably up there with McGregor, the best midfield player in Scotland. So, again, excellent bits of business. I just wanted sometimes to push the boat out for that extra bit of quality.
There's still half a window to go, mate. We should be in this conversation on the 1st of February, no the now. If GG goes and there's nobody else came in, then maybe you'll have an argument. But right now, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. And we'll leave the transfer chat to one side. We'll move on to a transfer that's already taken place.
You need to get your yellow tie next week, though.
I've got my yellow top on.
That's just
breaking news.
JJ has signed for Manchester United.
Merle Watson, I want to see Celtic spend some real money. Yeah, Merle, that's always trying to get across there. Maybe a bit more expressive than I wanted to, but I've done it.
Don't want them to just fucking spunk money for no reason, though, either.
We did that in Lennon's last season, and everybody fucking a year later was like, "What a fucking disgraceful transfer window that was." Spent a fortune. Julian for 7 million. What was the boy? Ayeti, 6 million. Barkas, 5 million. Aye, let's just spunk all the money up the wall. No,
absolute dung. It's not always about the price tag. It's about the player, and Ange's proven that in his full tenure.
Yeah,
the guys he's brought in, he knows. I'm not saying he knows or doesn't know this Cho guy, but most of the guys he's brought in, he knows, and most of the guys that he knows have worked.
Yeah, Stephen, you are worrying about Knight. That could be, Alistair. Brown Warrior, Kyogo has proved fuck all in the Champions League. Yeah, again, that may change next season.
None of them have.
As a collective, we were below par in that Champions League group. But I want to talk about a transfer, Willie, that's already taken place, and that's Iwata has come in as a number 6. And I loved Cal McGregor's interview about this. I took a wee snippet from it.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Basically, laying down the challenge to take his place. Like, what a captain. He's not even worried. He wants him to take his place, wants him to produce the goods then, or move him up a position, or take his actual place. And I think that's just top quality work from Captain Calvick, isn't it?
Aye, well, that's it. That's what you come into a club to do, and that's what Ange wants. He wants. This is I always harp on about the fact that last season with Lennon, that was what was lacking, and that's why we struggled, is because Edward and Christie's, and they're turning up every week knowing they're getting a game. Doesn't matter how bad or how good they play. This team, they can't rest on the laurels. If you hear a bad half an hour in a game, you're out next week. A badder scores goals for fun and then has an average 60 minutes, and then Forrest
unless you're Kyogo.
Unless you're Kyogo, right? So, this is what we want. again, I know he can play along the back line and all the rest of it as well. I think that's top quality. Russell,
Yep.
that's a good one.
That's all about me.
I think Kilmarnock's you can't drop Kilmarnock ever. So I reckon when this guy's playing, Kilmarnock will be pushed further forward. He'll play the 10 or the 8.
Who loses out there?
I don't think he'll come into the first. He'll be coming in the first 11. I think he'll be coming in here and there.
Yeah, but when he starts, who misses out for McGregor?
Well, the number 10 position's kind of up for grabs with Moy and
Yeah,
O'Reilly at the moment. I reckon I'd put him in there. You can't drop Hatate. For me, he's been arguably our best player this year, so it would have to be one of the other two.
Yeah. I think Antonio's, you're coming with great points, fella. When Kilmarnock was injured, the side wasn't the same. If Iwata can play in the place of Kilmarnock with no drop in quality, that's a win. I think that's, to be fair, Ross, what he was saying.
Saying that O'Reilly came in and played brilliant in a number 6 when he was.
He did. Remember the podcast before the European game? We were like, he can't play. He cannot do the number 6.
And I
was adamant to be Hatate.
Oh, he was brilliant. Like, and then Egyptian King O'Reilly will be defo benched. Paul that Iwata will be adored.
I think that. By the way, I think that might have. I mean, everybody's talking about O'Reilly in a dip in form. I don't think he's got a dip in form, to be honest with you. I still think he's been fantastic, but
he needs a goal.
He's just not got the goals, I think.
But I think maybe possibly putting him in that 6 for so long and then sticking him back in number 10, it's maybe had a bit of a negative effect on him. To be fair, I still think he's been fantastic. To be honest with you, I still think everybody forgets. I think people focus too much on stats sometimes. I love stats, right? I'm right into assist goals and all the rest of it, XGs and stuff like that. That really interests me. But nobody talks about the defence splitting pass that opened up the defence for somebody on the wing to get the assist. And O'Reilly's done that 3, 4, 5 times in the last 3 months. But because it's no the assist or it's no the goal, nobody talks about it. But he's the one that starts it. And it is, without his pass, anybody can come cutting for the right and play a 10-yard cross along the box for somebody to tap it in. But no everybody can see that defence splitting pass in between the full-back and the centre half that O'Reilly's been doing. And I just think he's been getting a wee bit too much stick for me. I still think he's been fantastic for us.
100%. The funny thing is, with O'Reilly, like, if you look at the wee tables that get produced like on a monthly basis, I can't remember what Page does on Twitter, but he's still the highest. I think it's a Celtic team, if not the SPFL whole table, for ball progression and ball movements into the final third. So as you said, he's providing, this is another stat type term, but the secondary assist for the person who makes the assist for the goal.
Yep.
And he's still effective. All he needs is a goal. But David Ferguson, I think, nails it here, Ross. He needs a rest, and I think Iwata can play a pivotal role in that. If you can push McGregor up one, afford to drop O'Reilly onto the bench, then that is a win for everybody.
Well, I understand what David's saying there. I don't know if he needs a rest physically, maybe mentally, but I think he's getting that rest at times. He's getting that opportunity because we've got Aaron Moy who's coming in and doing absolutely brilliant and playing the role every bit as good at the moment. Every bit as good as O'Reilly's playing it. I mean, I meant to say earlier on, I know we're talking about O'Reilly, but I meant to say earlier on, Aaron Moy's pass, the goal that was disallowed, and I think it was the first half, Jota was offside. That pass over the top into Jota's path. I know he was offside, but what a ball that was. Aaron Moy has got that in his locker and he's been outstanding. And O'Reilly, that's that pass that Willie's talking about. It's not the defence splitting pass. I think Aaron Moy likes that ball over the top that takes defenders out, whereas O'Reilly can play the one through the lines better. They both bring great attributes to the game, and hopefully, I mean, Moy, what is he, 32? He's not going to be around forever. He's doing the business now. He's not going to be around forever. Cal McGregor, what is he, 28, 29?
29 or something.
28. So you look at it, maybe get another season out of Moy. I don't know. He'll do a job for us. But then you've got Iwata coming in. And like you just spoke about, Iwata can then play that Cal McGregor role at times. if we've not got Moy anymore, if he has to go because he's maybe just at that age, you don't know. But then Cal McGregor can move up and give O'Reilly that rest. Cal McGregor can fall back and give Awata that rest.
Yeah.
We've got great options in the middle of that park. And like I've said before, I've not seen enough of Awata, but we've only seen YouTube clips, but I quite believe he could play even where Hatate plays. Because he's got that, I say that he's got a strike. He's quite similar to Hatate. He's got a strike. He can hit for distance. I think, although he's coming in as a defensive midfielder on paper, I still think that Cal McGregor can play defensive midfield, but he can also play further forward in that midfield three. Hatate, I believe, could play further forward. I believe he could play in the role that McGregor plays. O'Reilly's proved that he can play the role McGregor plays, and he can play further forward. So they can all play the three roles pretty well. Some better at other roles than others, but if they need to fall back or go forward and do a bit for the team, they can all do it. And that again goes back to Ange's got all these options, and it goes back to the GG argument where he's not going to let an option like that go without giving himself another option, because that is what he's all about. He's all about having two for each position, but he's also got players that can play like two or three positions as well. And it's ironic me talking about that. We all know I said that he'd manager. We all know the story, but
we know Ross.
It has developed like that, and I have to just embrace it now. But not only has he got two options per position, he's also got other guys that can play this here and everywhere. Do you know what I mean? And it was proven the other week. Hatate went into right back, absolutely seamless.
Yep.
That's
see on what you said. David Ferguson came in while he was speaking, and Willie kind of nodded in agreement. I think it was the lad saying, "Is anyone absolutely astounded by the quality in our squad?" I'm totally on board with that. We have a 42-man squad, which is mind-boggling. But McGregor spoke about this, Willie, in the press conference. He was like, "You need a big squad now for the demands of professional football, the competitions, the amount of games you play every season." Didn't really think about that. Maybe 42 is still big. Cut that down to maybe 35. You're flying and you're laughing there. But one player Ross didn't mention. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Alistair Jack says, basically, where does all that leave Turnbull?
Oh shit!
Because you didn't mention him, Ross. And
no,
I know it was by mistake, right? It was probably in hindsight you would probably go back and say his name now because you know. But where does that leave Turnbull? Because I think that's a valid point. He mentioned Moy, he mentioned O'Reilly, multiple positions, but not Turnbull.
He's bang on. Sorry, Wally.
That's a fair point. Oh no, I thought that was for Ross. Is that for me?
No, it was for you.
Willie.
Don't know. I like Turnbull. But I also like Moy. I also like Hatate, and I also like O'Reilly, and like everybody's clamouring. We're just talking about the transfer news. We need to bring bigger and better, but all we're doing is falling over ourselves about the talent that we've got. So how the fuck, unless we're starting 20 players, how are we fitting everybody in?
No,
I don't see. Aye, John, that's my point. If we've got, like Ross said, we've got two or three players in every position. I like Turnbull. I reckon if he got a run in the side, which, unless you're Callum McGregor or Kyogo, is virtually impossible in this team to get a run, like a proper run, like 90 minutes for 10 games in a trot. It's virtually impossible unless you're, I'd say, maybe 3 or 4 players, unless you are Kyogo, Hatate, Calmac, CCV, and Joe Hart, 5 players. Unless you're them, you're not playing every game.
Aye.
So I think you need to accept that. I think if Turnbull was playing every game, he'd hear the figures, he'd hear the numbers, he'd hear the goals, he'd hear 8-9 goals so far this season, and I reckon he would. I reckon he'd hear the numbers. But I mean, when Hatate's turning it on, and Kilmarnock's undroppable, like what you meant to do. And Moyes came in and done a job. Turnbull's no
Never thought.
Even when Moy was more of a bit part player and he was only coming on for 20 minutes at a time. For me, he's done more than 20 minutes than Turnbull has been doing in his 20 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
So, like, it's going back to like what you said about Gigi. Just need to get your head down, work hard, hope your opportunity comes, and when you do get your opportunity, take it. Because if you do, Andrew will keep you on the side, and and you'll get your chance. I wouldn't be getting. I wouldn't be getting shot at him. I think he's a good player, and I wouldn't be getting rid. But if he did go, I wouldn't be like crying in the corner about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
And Armstrong left.
Aye, and in a way, we're so stacked there. For his sake, if he did go and get football, because you're not in the sport long, and he's a top talent, and for me being a big fan of the national side, I'd love to see him get game time somewhere, and I think he could be a real asset for that national side. So I think maybe for his sake, he should maybe look to move on. But I wouldn't like. I wouldn't like to see him go. I think he's a top player.
It's mad to think that 2.5, 3 years ago we were talking about the bright sparks of the Shitney Lennon team being Zorro and Turnbull. He continued that kind of upward trend into Postecoglou's first season and was vital to what we were doing the first 6 months of that campaign. But Ross, to come back to you want to bring up, if I can find it here, just bear with me, Gary Melrose. David Turnbull is a class player with proper dig, but one pace and plays it too safe too often. He was critical last season. It's a conundrum, and I just find it interesting. Now, I'm not pigeonholing it, but I just find it interesting. You mentioned near enough every other midfield player, but not Turnbull. Is he one like Willie? You wouldn't be sad to see leave the building?
Absolutely, and I've said previously that Turnbull has a lot to give to the squad, and I did forget about him, and that's my bad. But I still believe he does have a lot to give to the squad. Talk about trimming the squad. You look at that midfield, you could trim the squad, you could lose McCarthy, you could lose Ideguchi. That's 2 midfielders right away, right? And you could keep. I'm getting an echo because Wally's taking his headphones off.
Bear with us. There's an echo. Go ahead.
Aye, so you could trim the squad, get rid of McCarthy, Ideguchi for talking's sake, right? In terms of Celtic, for Celtic, I think it would be beneficial to keep Turnbull. And that'd be great for us. But at the minute, he's not getting the game time. And like Willie says, I think he could be great for the national squad. But if he's not getting the games, he's not going to get a game for the national squad. And for Turnbull personally, as much as he probably doesn't want to leave Celtic, I think it does, to be fair. But that's what I'm saying is, he's never going to be a first choice, but he's still got something to give to us. But in terms of Turnbull personally, progressing his career, because he's only about 22, 23 maybe, he maybe needs to leave Celtic and go and get game time, and it would benefit the national squad. But and for a selfish point of view, as a fan, I would like to see him staying. But there's a good chance, not this window, maybe in the summer, that you might see him leaving the club. Like similar to when Armstrong left us, I was a massive fan of Armstrong, but we had good players in there as well, and I wasn't absolutely gutted when he went. I was surprised that we let him go, to be honest, Armstrong. And I wouldn't be as surprised if Turnbull went, because I think we've got far more quality in the middle of that part now than when Armstrong left.
Totally agree.
I wouldn't let him go. I wouldn't let him go, but I think it'll get to a point where he'll maybe think, right, I need to go here. I don't want to leave Celtic. Kenny loves the club like us. He won't want to leave, but for his career, I think it'll probably get to the stage where he might have to.
I think the thing with this, with this team as well, and with Ange, you're never far away from that. I mean, it was only 6 months ago everybody was talking about Maeda was the fucking worst player on the planet and we need to sell him. Look at him now, he's flying again. Who's to say in 3-4 months' time that that Turnbull doesn't get a chance, takes it, and then I mean I get the same way O'Reilly. O'Reilly at the start of last year was the best player we've got. He's keeping Rogic at the team. We're wanting him to play instead of Rogic. New people are clamouring for Moy to start in his place.
Yeah. Well, it's cycles, it's form. That's why you've got these options.
3 months' time, Turnbull could be in our number 10 scoring goals for fun. And I would love to see it myself personally. I think he's a top player. I don't want to see him go, but I can understand if he does.
Aye. I mean, to be fair, like with me in my situation, Ross, I have to be on me with this one. I would have probably forgot about him. And that's not being harsh. It's just the strength and depth that we have in reality in that position. John said an interesting one, coming back to me, obviously saying, but we need to sign players at 10 million plus, right? I'm going to be honest, right? If you're happy being stale and stagnating at £4 to £6 million valuation players, that's fine. I always want better. I'm looking for better.
But we're no stagnating and stale.
No, but what I'm saying, no. But staying in around that market, sometimes you need to move. You need to go with it. You know what I mean? You need to be a bit more eventful and be more ambitious.
You also don't need to spend 10, 15 million to have a good player.
Well, in Europe you do. There's a big difference in the SPFL in Europe. I
don't think you do.
But it's hard for a club like Celtic to go ahead and blast that amount of money. And the likelihood is, if they are spending that kind of money, it's not on a player that Ange knows really well. It's on a player that's been scouted by somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So
I reckon if Ange went out there,
because you're not going to pay that for a guy for the J League.
Aye. I reckon if Ange went out there and he said, "That's the man I want, but he's valued at 10 million," I reckon we would pay it. But that's not how it's working. And we've just talked about we've just banged on about for 10 minutes about how good our club, how
100%.
well stacked we are on players. So why would you want to pay 10 million when we've got class players?
Just to address one thing, Paul McFarlane, yes, young keeper Oluwami has left to join Cork City on loan for the rest of the season. So wish him all well. Go ahead, Ross.
I was going to say also, you're talking about maybe spending 10 million on a player that has been scouted, right? But Ange is always alluded to, we all know it, that he signs the man as well as the player, right?
Yep.
I mean, this is maybe a bit unfair, but if you're signing a guy for £10 million, he's maybe his head getting big, whatever, believes he's better than what he is.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you're valued at that, there's people in your ear before that saying you're this, you're that. He maybe changes, because people change, and they get a big head, and he maybe has a conversation with guys. He's maybe had a conversation with people like that, where he could spend that kind of money, and Celtic have said it's okay to do it. But if he then has that conversation and think, that guy's a bit of a ball, he's 10 million now, so he thinks he's a baller already. That guy at 10 million's coming into Celtic and going, well, I'm 10 million now, I've went to Celtic, play here for a season, do well, maybe leave Celtic for 25 million and go to Man United, because that's who I'm.
But that's the evolution of accumulating transfer fees.
But then that takes away the team spirit and the unity and the people that want to be at the club. You can bring in a guy for 10 million, but he's maybe only seen Celtic as a stepping stone. We are no longer stepping stone FC. Ange has got guys that every time we sign a player, it's 5-year deals. I just think he knows that he's got a certain demographic of player that he goes for, and it looks like it's the 2 to 4 million bracket. He's aye, but I think he's got a certain demographic of player. Ange's not a big, huge name manager. I think he knows the type of player he wants, and it doesn't matter if they're 4 million or 10 million. He knows what they can do. He knows they have to fit his system. So whether 2 million or 10 million, it doesn't matter. They have to fit his system. And in his defence, I would say that probably 85%, maybe, all have came in and fitted his system.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're 10 million, as long as they fit the system.
See this whole we need Champions League quality. Go and name me somebody that's Champions League quality that we've got to buy.
But no.
But this is what a scout network's for, Willie. I can't name you off the top of my mind.
We've got a great scouting network now.
But if they're already Champions League quality, they're not going to Celtic. They're going to the Premier League.
Right.
I'm watching Shakhtar and I'm like, fucking hell, see that Mudryk? What
we have to sign.
Now he's going for hundreds of millions.
Aye.
Not happening. Can't do that.
I know. That was, and Shakhtar brought him through.
So what's Champions League quality?
There are these Scottish guys coming through at the level of Mudryk.
Do we not think that Hatate...
We don't get Champions League quality. We make them.
Do we not think that Hatate and Jota and all that have got the potential to be Champions League quality?
Aye.
Of course they do, right? Now,
right.
My argument, I love all the difference of opinions. The chat's going different. People are saying we need to spend. People are saying we don't need to spend. People tell me why my neck in. People tell me to suck it up and get on with it. That's fine. That is 100% totally fine. I get all that. I'm not arguing with anybody. I'm just coming across I am a bit, right? I'm just coming across from my point of view that I look at it sometimes, right? And for a club that we profess as a massive European club, right? We're world renowned, fans of the world, 60,000 seater stadium, unbelievable. But we never seem to speculate to accumulate. Now, let me back that up by saying
Scotland.
No, let me back that up by saying Mark Nugent came in. And Mark, forgive me if I'm wrong, right? You're the one kind of coming at me, that's fair, but you did say something that I was trying to hint at. If the transfer fees we receive cover the big fees, that's fair enough. That's what I'm trying to say. If this Moneyball and aggressive ruthless attitude that Postecoglou spoke about comes to fruition in 2 to 3 years' time, there's no reason why we can't spend 10 to 12 to 15 million pound a player, because it's going to evolve. The Champions League money is going to change, by the way, in the 24-25 season. Mm-hmm. It's all being revamped, and apparently more money. We don't know. But we have to look at it from that perspective too. And I love the players Postecoglou signing. I love the pool that we've brought in. I'm not denying that. But Ross, you said all the time, there's always better. So this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to say. There's always another alternative and a solution.
Do you think that
that isn't always the 10 million guy? Sorry, Willie, you go.
If you think that Angie's top target was 10 million, we wouldn't be paying it right now.
No.
I don't believe that. I think we would.
No,
I think
we would not be paying. No.
Well,
what gives you that? What gives you that reasoning? I mean, we've seen him spend six, right?
I don't understand your reasoning where it's like we need to. You should be spending top dollar, right? Because if doesn't necessarily give you the better player. If you're giving me Kyogo for 4.5 or a Yeti for 6. I'm going to choose Kyogo fucking 10.
Difference of 1.5 million.
But the reason I agree with Willie, and that if his top target was a £10 million player, for talking sake, the reason I agree with him is because Angie's got credit in the bank.
Yeah.
Not every player. That's not true. But
there before, buddy.
Most of the players that he's signed have worked, so he's got credit in the bank. So if he goes to Nicholson and says, look at who I brought in. They were 2, 3, 4 million pound guys. I know them really well. I know this guy really well. He's no for the J League though. He's for whatever. He's going to cost us 10 million. But I know him inside out, like I know Kyogo, like I know Hatate. I think Nicholson's saying, right, okay, let's do it.
But like, if you look at it like this, and by the way, I'm not trying to know anybody. I'm enjoying this chat, so we're just having a wee chat.
Aye.
Yeah. If we look at it like this, our record transfer fee until Edward, up until Edward, wasn't it? Was Chris Sutton the £6 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you telling me in 10 years' time, 2033, for example, if we haven't broke the £9 million bracket, that you would be like, what the fuck's going on? Because I see this as.
Not if I had the team you've got right now.
No.
I'd much rather have a 4.5 million Kyogo than a 9 million Edward right now.
I'd rather have the 9 million bracket and still be the same club as pay 12 million for Torre Andre Flo and just not be the same club.
I would
whatever
much
they
rather
say.
have a 4.5 million Kyogo than a 9 million Edward right now.
That's
all
what
day,
can
every
happen.
day, twice on a Sunday.
Tore Andre Flo is the prime example. £12 million. Was really good at Chelsea. Done it in Europe. Went to Rangers. Absolute dog shite.
And we shit.
£12 million.
Yeah.
It doesn't guarantee.
This is the thing. I'm listening to what you're all saying, and I have agreed with you, to be fair.
And I don't see this whole Champions League quality, next level players, and all the rest of that. For me, this squad right now is a Champions League level team. We've all talked about it, how we were great this year. We just didn't have that in the last third. We were just lacking a bit. On another day, we could have had 9 points and qualified for that group in another year.
Aye. It's all part of the evolution of this squad, this team.
The likes of Hatate, I think Hatate is going to go on and play for like one of the elite clubs in world football in this moment of time. I think in 2 or 3 years' time, he can go on and play for anybody he wants. I think he's that good. So, talking about signing Champions League quality players, watching Shakhtar's midfield, for me, Hatate is much better than any Shakhtar midfielder.
Oh, why? Look, I agree.
Any of the Leipzig midfielders, he was far better than, for me, centre midfielders name. They qualified. So does that mean they're Champions League quality and he's not?
If I can come back to you, right, Hatate, we all know, is going to go on to bigger, better things at one point in his career. We can all see it. The transfer fee, if we speculate, right, say 20 million, right, as a baseline, Willie, right?
Yeah.
We get that in. Would you not expect a good chunk of that to be reinvested to buy a replacement for Hatate?
But see the money that we've been receiving over the past few seasons, it has been reinvested. We've spent a lot of money.
But see if we sold, just for talking sake, right? See if we sold Hatate for 20 million, right? Just for talking sake, I'm just throwing a number out, right?
There's a fucking that's the
I
best
don't
point.
want Celtic to go and then spend. I don't want Celtic to go and then spend 18 million on a replacement. I would rather they go another Hatate in and use the rest of the money to add to other bits of the squad, because they could spend 18 million on that Hatate replacement, and he couldn't be anywhere. He might not be anywhere near as good as Hatate. He might not settle in to the team, to the culture, wherever he's came from. There's loads of variables. I would rather they spent. I don't know, what did we pay for Hatate?
So you go low for a low risk? Is that what rather like your type of attitude towards it?
No low risk.
Not in a bad way.
Because
I'm just trying to.
No. I would rather we paid. What did we pay for Hatate? 2 million.
1.5, I think.
1.5. So I would rather we paid maybe between the 1.5 and 3 million to replace him, and still have money left over to add to different bits of the squad. Excuse me. Still have money left over to add to different bits of the squad, but replace him with a guy that Ange knows well, and he'll do the same thing again. It doesn't always work like that, but hopefully you would try and get a guy that he knows well, like he knew Hatate, get him in at a decent cost while still having money left over to add to the squad again, because you could spend £18 million to replace Hatate, but you're no elevating the squad. You've just replaced Hatate, but you've spent, I don't know, 12 million more than what he cost.
I mean,
do you know what I'm saying?
It's an argument that people could have, as you said, till you're blue in the face. Do you know what I mean? It's one of these things that transfer fees obviously look good and pretty on paper. I agree with that, and it looks amazing if you sign a player for 10 to 12 million quid. You're like, wow, must be amazing. But on the other hand, like you all said, it doesn't guarantee success. But this is quite interesting. 82 attempts on goal, 4 score, Willie. Again, lack of proficiency in front of the goal, and you even said yourself that Kyogo's not the most clinical. If GG started, he'd probably get more. So to kind of round off this, but I want to come to you both. You can be as in-depth if you want. I'm liking the chat, liking people getting involved. At this stage at the moment, what is success for Celtic in European football next season?
We need to qualify for the knockout stages, for me. I think we're more than good enough. We're more than capable.
Yeah.
This season we showed it. We just didn't have that. There was football. You need luck sometimes as well, and we had no luck whatsoever. We needed to be more clinical. See, if we went into next season with this squad of players in the Champions League, I would still be confident that we could qualify.
Yeah.
Very confident. I just think that I think the team's magic, and I just think a wee bit of luck and just more accurate in front of goal, and we're qualifying. That first, I've never ever, I can't remember the last time I had a buzz like I did that first half hour against Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
And Kilmarnock hit
Yeah,
a
that
post,
was
and
unbelievable.
I was like, holy fuck. See, at that moment, I was like, we're going to win this whole fucking Champions League. We were fucking electric. We were unbelievable. And it's tough to keep that up for 90 minutes. But remember, we're like Ross is always talking about it in this podcast, especially how we're evolving. We're still learning under this, this process and under Ange. We're all going to get better and better. We are getting better and better. We are like this season. Remember, the standards are so high domestically. People are still greeting about we got beat at St Mirren. We're absolutely flying, destroying every team in our wake. Yeah. We might only be scoring 2 goals. We talked about Kilmarnock there. We won 2-0. Could have been 7-0. We're flying. Yeah. The team's progressing. The players like Hatate, I keep banging on about Hatate, but the difference in him in a year, I'm like,
is Hatate the best midfielder we've had in terms of like outside signings in years?
Yeah, for a long time. Yeah. Aye, as good as I can remember anyway. Aye, definitely. And just the way we play football now. Next year, I think we should be looking to qualify through the group stages. I don't see why not. The football we play, the squad we've got, and we're going to keep adding to that as well. We talk about there's no drop off, and the way we play, it's difficult to keep that up for 90 minutes. So you do need people to come in, and there's not going to be a drop off. And I think we're getting to that stage with this squad. We just talked about it. We're not even mentioning Turnbull because our squad's that good.
But yeah,
I just think it's nothing but positive. And you know what? It's top quality we've got on the side, and I've built a massive affinity with this squad. And Ange's done that with the fans. He's brought us all back together again, and the love for the club. If somebody else comes in, I'm not wanting anybody else to come in. I don't want Maeda to get dropped. I didn't want GG to go. I didn't want Hatate to get dropped.
No signings ever.
No more signings, please, because I love this team. I love this squad. So just leave it at that, please.
Right.
Yeah. See, to be fair to you, Willie, like from day one, you were on board with Ange. Like you were always saying he's like a guy who gives you a big cuddle and tells you everything's going to be okay. And you've always stuck to that narrative. And fair play to you. I mean, like if you look at it, that you all know my opinion on that group. I was raging, and I don't really hide my emotions too good. So it comes out in podcasts when people see me slavering, and it gets brought back up to me in occasions. But I don't mind that. That's just my emotions take the hold of me. But Ross, you look at it as well. I'll ask you the same thing, but I want to throw in another thing, and Willie, I'll come back to you in this one because I spoke about this in the group, and Alistair Jack brought it back up, and you had an opinion on it, and I agreed with you. Is Carter Vickers better than Van Dijk at Celtic? Just their time there, and what is acceptable for you at European level next season?
I'll answer the Carter Vickers Van Dijk one first. Me personally, and Van Dijk's obviously not out with Celtic, but in his time at Celtic, Carter Vickers is better than Van Dijk for me, and I base that on Van Dijk came in. He played, try to remember the name of the team, I think it was Shakhtar Karaganda away. And it was his debut. And he had an absolute nightmare, right? But he was a very good performer for Celtic. But there was games where he's a better footballer than Carter Vickers, undoubtedly. I mean, your centre half hitting free kicks into the top corner. Do you know what I mean? Says it all. But in terms of a defender performing for Celtic, I don't remember watching anybody as assured as Carter Vickers in my time watching Celtic. As a centre half, I don't remember being as relaxed and as confident watching a guy going up against somebody, running at him, 1-on-1, taking the ball off him. Does it all the time. He's never flustered. He's just got a knack. He just standing up, waiting for his chance, Show me too much and I'm taking that ball. There you go, I'm away. And he's just so good. I think he's phenomenal. Van Dijk has went on to bigger and better things, of course, and he's a bit older and he's a bit further in his career. Can CCV go to that level? I'm not sure. And it's weird saying that because I think he's performed better.
It's a great point for John, by the way.
John wrote in her.
Good point, mate.
I agree with that. What age is Carter Vickers?
20.
I think he's still in his mid-20s, aye.
Aye. Well, he's obviously a bit older. I don't think he's not got the ceiling that Van Dijk's reached, but in terms of a Celtic jersey, Carter Vickers, for me, has performed better, more consistently. I don't remember a game where I've went, he had a stinker there, Carter Vickers. He's always, he's either been all right, steady, unflustered, or he's been a fucking absolute colossus. That's just. But in terms of the Champions League, next season, I don't think we need to qualify. Well, no. I can't say right now that we need to qualify because, or we should qualify because I don't know who we've got. Nobody knows who we're going to draw. Who are you waving at?
My brother, he commented.
Oh, sorry. I don't know who we've got. I don't know what the group. I don't know what the group is. It could be an absolute death group, and you'd be like, if we get third out of that, we'll do well. It's difficult to say the now, but what I do believe is, like Wally, with the squad of players we've got, I think they proved last season that they are good enough to play at that level. They outplayed teams for large parts of all the games, barring, I think it was the home game against Shakhtar. We didn't play at our levels. There was the away game against Leipzig. We didn't play at our level, or was it the home? I can't mind. But there was two games.
It was both
probably
them
four
games.
out. Four.
It was both them games against Shakhtar.
Four out of the six. But 4 out of the 6. No, we played to our levels in the Shakhtar away game. We just didn't have the finishing touch. Yeah. I think 4 out of the 6 games we showed that we belong at that level and we can compete at that level. But it was our first year. Correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Joe Hart, Cal McGregor are the only two that have experienced playing at that level in that tournament. Mm-hmm. There might be somebody else, but there's no many.
Forms.
And I think it doesn't matter what walk of life you're in. If it's new to you, it's going to be, you're going to find it more difficult than when you've got more experience at it. Celtic, for me, they'll learn from that experience last season, and they'll get better. I think they'll probably add to the squad in the summer again, which will help. Whether it's going to be Champions League experienced players, we don't know. It doesn't have to be, but it's a tough one. I think that I can't say right now we need to qualify. Yeah, we need to perform better in front of goal and take our chances. And if we do that, we'll have a more successful time, or we'll certainly have more goals to celebrate. Do you know what I mean? But whether we can get out of the group next season, it's difficult because it's such a hard tournament. You don't know who you're getting. But even, it doesn't matter who you get. It's going to be hard. But I'll go into it. I'll be excited. We're going to be back in it. I don't care what anybody says. We are.
I think for
I'll
me,
be excited.
I think for me, like yourself, Ross, and William, you answered it perfectly as well. Regardless of what teams we get, I've got 2 scenarios, right? The first one, like Willie said, will qualify for that round. Second one is if we get the death group, like you said, Ross, if we fall into the Europa League, I expect us to get at least the last 4 of that tournament. At least the last 4.
Fucking hell, man.
I don't think there's anything really wrong with saying that, to be fair. I don't know, but it's
what happens if
ambition.
we go out and Benfica go out and then we get Benfica in the fucking Europa
Then
League?
we'll have to fucking pump Benfica. Simple. No questions asked. We'll have to pump Benfica.
Okay.
We've done it before.
I think saying at least the last four is a bit like fucking hell. If you don't get that, you're shite and fuck yous.
We need to win a knockout tie, Ross. We need to win a knockout tie. Come on.
Oh, we do.
Absolutely. For me, as well, for me next year, and I know we've been bringing players in, but I remember we did the podcast before the window opened, Stephen, and you were like, you asked me where I would strengthen.
Yeah.
Everybody was wanting another striker, and everybody was wanting number 6, and everybody was wanting another left back or whatever. And you asked me, and I said I would want a top centre half. I think that's the only thing we're lacking, and everybody's giving me pelters. I still believe that. I still believe in this squad.
That's fair enough.
And bearing in mind, right, I know you can always improve. There's always better out there. But for me, right now, Celtic can't go out and buy a midfielder that's better than Hatate. For us, I don't think. I don't see us buying a player that's better than him.
Or McGregor.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
everybody's talking about how the strikers didn't score in Champions League. Fair enough, but they're fucking been frightening domestically both last year and this year. I think they are good enough. I just think it was one of those things this year in this campaign. The wings, we've got 4 or 5 on both sides that are fantastic for me. I think we've got a really, really good left back. I know Taylor's had his, but you think so? Fair enough.
Do you know what? Again, by the way, sorry to cut in there, Willie. Do you know what? I think you can carry on after this, Willie. But I meant to say this before, but I think that Celtic, they performed to their levels, like I said, in 4 of the games. And I think they played their football the way Ange wanted them to play it. But they were up against quality, and at times you're going to get caught out, which they did. But I think in front of goal, I don't think the players that we've got in terms of Kyogo, GG, I don't think they're not good enough. I think in front of goal, even not just our strikers, other players that had chances, I think they took their chances like they realised, my God, I'm playing the Champions League here.
Aye.
And they weren't used to it. But they've had that experience. And next season, if they play the way they played, which I quite believe they can, I think they players, or all the players that get their chance, will have that bit more experience, and they'll know take the chance like, oh my God, I'm in the Champions League. They'll take the chance like, I've been in here already. I fucked up last year, but I've got it in my head now. I belong here because that's the second time I've been here. 2 in a row now.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what it's almost like? Do you ever when you play a game and you like get to a level and you feel that level and you're like, game over. But when you go back again, you know how to do it. I think that's literally what the scenario is, really.
But like I was saying, I think in every position, I think we're struggling. Keeper, I'm maybe either. I'm still a big Joe Hart fan.
We need a keeper. We need a keeper.
But for me, I think CCV's a top player. Really like him. I just think that other centre half position, and I like Starfelt. I really like Jens as well. I really do. I just think out of all the positions in the park, if there's anywhere, I think first 11 I'm talking about, not just like beefing up the squad. I just think if there's anywhere in the park, it's that left-sided centre half position.
But could Kobayashi could he be the man?
Yet to be seen. Don't know. Yet to be seen.
Interesting we dovetail we took today, wasn't it? I quite enjoyed it, like going down that rabbit hole. But I mean, we'll kind of move on. Obviously, we're playing Kilmarnock again tomorrow in the League Cup semi-final, Ross. And I found it quite interesting. Look, I don't want to get into the politics of it all because obviously we'll be here all night and whatever. But McKenna's come out and saying he was asked about Kyle Lafferty.
Yep.
Doing star jumps outside his office. Now, this is the guy who was videoed being sectarian. If this was done, I mean, if it was a racist football or whatever, that would not go down well. It seems to be accepted, that let's be fair, and within Scottish football, that you can do whatever you do.
To be fair, they've they've gave him a lengthy ban and they've fined him and all the rest of it. It's more than what we've seen in the past. It's been what was it, like 10 game or so? It's like they've not just let it lie. They've punished them.
Oh, I'm not saying Kilmarnock have, but the fact that he said he's doing star jumps and buzzing to play Celtic, do you mean all that shit? Fuck off, go and pander to your own plans.
If I was as bigoted as him, which I am, and I was going to be playing Rangers, I'd be doing star jumps outside the office as well.
I think it's just because it's fell on this weekend. If it was Aberdeen, I think it would be the same fucking way. But
that was the fucking segue.
By the way.
That was my segue into this fucking bit here, and you totally shit on it.
Sorry,
but yeah, coming to you, Ross. We'll do a wee tail of the tape. I mean, Postecoglou confirmed that Haksabanovic and all's back. So Hampden, big pitch. What are you expecting tomorrow?
I expect Celtic to do what they always do: control the game, dominate the ball. Kilmarnock will be dogged, like we've said earlier on, but it's a bigger pitch. I just think Celtic will take no heart. That's the wrong word, but they'll take. They're confident anyway, but they'll take confidence going into that first half. And I think the bigger pitch, probably, I feel like I might be wrong, but I feel like Kilmarnock will not be as compact because it's a semi-final. It's a one-off game. Surely you've just got to say, right, let's have a go. To an extent, and they're playing a far better team, and they've alluded to the fact their manager and their defender saying that they just Celtic smother you. So they will be. I think they'll. I don't know. I think they might try and keep it tight for as long as possible and then come out. Unlike at Celtic Park, where they would have been happy with a draw. But I think that Celtic on that big pitch will find spaces, no matter who plays, by the way. They'll find spaces. And I think they'll take Kilmarnock apart, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, I think that what will play a big part tomorrow is the pitch size, the dimensions, all that type of stuff. I think we'll get wide, we'll get the balls in. He's not going to play, so we need someone to be the second runner. I think Kyogo would bump up there. I mean, Jota could be that. Obviously, he scored a goal like that against them last weekend. But you look at it, the big lad last week that started, by the way, I thought was quite good. Kyle Fasell, their new signing, the striker.
Aye.
He was quite physical. So it'd be interesting to see if they start with no. It'd be interesting to see if they start with two up front. Just to go back to Ross Mullen here. Big K, laugh at time, should have been fired by from Kilmarnock, in my opinion. Celtic will scalp Kilmarnock 5-0 to the boys. What do you think? What he's going to play tomorrow?
What's that? Me play? How he's going to play?
Yeah. What way is he going to play out tomorrow?
Destroy them. I think if Lafferty plays, he has a handful. As much as he's a big lanky streak of pish, he's a handful and he's a decent player. So it will be a different test. But like you said, that big Vassell, I thought he looked decent, but CCV absolutely manhandled him as usual. I think 5:30 kickoff. The crowd's going to be half buzzed by the time we get there. The noise will be electric, and I think the boys will put on a show. I think we'll absolutely thump them. I can't see anything but us destroying them. Like we should have done at the weekend. As much as it was a 2-0 game, like we said, could have been 4, 5, 6, 7. And I think it'll be much the same. And I reckon it'll be a comfortable win.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same lines. I think about 4 or 5-0 be us. Like, I want to try something different here, right? You done something quite good last week with the whole lineup prediction that was.
It totally boggled my mind.
It was good. It was good crack. I want to try a combined 11. So I'll say my goalkeeper, Ross say right back, you're right back, you say one centre back, and we'll go round till we get to the end. How does that sound?
Okay.
Aye.
Right. So in nets, I'll go for Joe Hart.
Oh, I thought you were going to go Circus there.
By the way, I know you're asking me whoever's going to go next, but right Circus still play in goal because
he's sick. He's ill.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking shit then. That's fine. Right, who's next?
Right back.
Right back, yeah.
Right back, Alistair Johnson.
One centre half of it. I'll go Starfelt. Left back, Ross.
Bernabei.
CDM.
Kilmarnock.
I'll go Hatate.
Oh, this is a big one.
I'll go.
Did he
Moy.
start at the weekend? Moy. He started Moy at the weekend, didn't he?
He did, aye. I'll go Moy.
Moy. I think he'll
I
go
think
right
it'll be the same team.
What am I then? Right wing?
Right wing, yeah.
He's going to stick a bad in there Saturday. Tomorrow.
Left wing. I'll do left wing. Leave a striker to you, Ross. I'll do left wing. I'll go Jota.
Aye. Well, if he's going to play a bad, it'll be Joe. Aye. Striker. Okay, it's going to be Kyogo.
Kyogo. And apparently as well, Circus isn't injured, so fair play. If he's not, I fully expect him to start.
He's played every cup game, hasn't he?
Yeah, so that sounds more. Yeah, that sounds more. My brother comes in 6 to Celtic, bit optimistic, but we'll talk about that tomorrow.
I agree.
That's
what I think.
I
think 6.
Score prediction, Willie, what are you going with?
4-0.
Ross?
6. 6-0.
Well, fair enough. I'll go 4. Like I'll do a nice comfy 4-0 win at Hampden. Like as Bertie Auld used to say, we were there that much. It was a training ground, so we'll take it. And to everyone who's literally stuck with us for 2 hours, 60 live at the minute, we appreciate it, and we love all the chat, people getting involved with each other, all the debate that it causes. It's fantastic, and as well we say, a wee community. But Ross and Willie, have you enjoyed this one?
Brilliant, mate. So happy to be back talking Celtic after all the World Cup shit, but this was brilliant tonight.
Superb chat, like.
And I love the debate, man. I love we all disagree, and it's no arguing when we're doing it. We're all just passionate and try to get our points across. I just love the debate, man. I love it when we all disagree, because I think it's, see, when we all agree, it's shit.
Aye.
Oh, yes, I agree with what you said. You're right, aye.
But hardly any of us agreed tonight.
I know.
At all. Even like me and Wally agree quite often, and even sometimes we didn't.
But everyone watching, back Monday. It's back. It comes back at stages, boys. It comes back.
Easy,
at stages,
peeps,
but everyone. Paul McFarlane, brilliant show. David Ferguson, great show. Regal Ross, great show. Graham Bell, brilliant as always. We greatly appreciate all the comments. We'll be back Monday again, hopefully discussing another final for Celtic Football Club. And until then, stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.
Great show. Hey, to our dudes.